Heck no. He's such a fun guy to coach. His competitive spirit. And, he's a playmaker. He's a ball player. Certainly not surprising. We made it hard on him. We rolled him the wrong way. He's a lefty. If you saw that, ball didn't come out very pretty, but big time play. Fun to watch him.
He's going to do that in the game, the real game, isn't he? Now?
Huh?
He's probably.
We'll see. We'll see.
How long has he been lobbying for this opportunity?
Not long at all. Actually, we called upon his services shortly after the draft and tried to keep it under the wraps so they didn't know it was coming. And certainly when he had the ball, it garnered a bunch of attention, so able to pull the defense up and slide Zion through there to get a nice reception.
Just about Kyle and specifically, like last year at this time, he was trying to be the man, and now he is. How has he kind of carried himself this spring?
Kyle's awesome, and he's always had that confidence that balances it with good, being humble as well. And we reflected on a few years ago, just seeing that growth. And with his success, it's really cool to see him keep the chip on his shoulder, stay hungry. He's still really early into the building, watching film, bringing guys with him. Competes his tail off every single day. So it's fun to watch. You know what I mean? To see an All-American stay that hungry and keep coming, keeping guys going, that's special. And I think it's a blessing for our team, to have Kyle.
What about Cam Lindsey, the PBU early in the game and just his overall development?
Yeah, Cam Lindsey's been fun this spring to see his development. Comes to work every day, works really hard. I think he looks good. I think you guys probably noticed. He looks bigger, stronger, more confident for sure. He said got a hand on the ball, made some plays out there, not live, so you don't get to see him finish like he. I think he does a good job finishing and being aggressive. We saw this spring. So excited about his growth, and I think he's going to have an impact this year. Excited about him.
How much do you think Cam learning from Kyle has helped maybe speed up his development this spring?
I think it's huge. I think having Kyle in the room and seeing him on the field do things because he's such a technician. Takes such pride in his footwork and his change of direction, his block to beat, his tackling, his angles, his pass drops, his coverage angles, his blitz pass, his stunts. You know what I mean? All of that stuff. When you can see someone do it right, helps. You know what I mean? And I could tell you, we could draw it on the board, but when you see a guy do it, it's easier to emulate. So having Kyle there, I think, is huge for Cam's development.
You have a battle going on at the Mike linebacker position between Jeremiah and Braylon. What did you see from them today, and where does that sort of stand?
Yeah, I think both Braylon and Jeremiah had a great spring. You should think about losing Brandon George and Keith Thompson there, and some veteran guys in the middle. That was something we needed to see this spring, and their development's been great. I think they've garnered trust from the rest of the defense that they can command and they can get everybody lined up from a mental standpoint. And then they're both playmakers. I think Braylon, picking up for what he did last year shows he can continue to make plays. And then Jeremiah was a little bit more limited last year. You got to see him really show his physical presence, which is good to see. He's a strong young man physically, but his mental preparation's been really impressive too, and I think guys see that. So we're gonna need both those guys. I think they make each other better, and they make us better as a defense and as a football team. So fired up to see where they're at, and they'll continue. And so it's kind of our last talk there as linebackers. We're building that foundation. We got to keep going. You know what I mean? Through the end of spring and through summer, through fall camp to get where we want to go. And so I think they're hungry. They both need to keep going. This has been great, but they need to keep getting better, and they will.
I wanted to ask you about, not spring football related, but a couple weeks ago, Brandon George had awesome spring, your pro day or whatever. And what's it kind of been like, the transformation in the linebacker room? Voss got drafted. Brandon has a good chance. You have Kyle. You have all these things. Like, what's kind of clicking right now for your room?
I guess first to speak about Brandon, incredible pro day, and certainly we're not surprised. He's a guy who's really athletic and talented and has the length, speed, and garnered a bunch of attention there having that performance. So excited to see what happens here and give him a chance and opportunity to go play at the highest level. It's impressive. And Sarasi visit probably a month prior. I think he has an opportunity to be a starter this year, compete for that with the Buccaneers. So that's cool to see. But I think it excites them all. The they're building it, and it's them. You know what I mean? They're doing it. They're pushing each other, and it's fun to see those guys. You know, it's a brotherhood. They're talking about each other. They all talk to each other, learning from each other. You know, Savasier's in the building, showing those guys things he's learning at the highest level, things that transfer from here. You know, making sure they know what they need to do, be great, you know, knowledge players, and make sure the details they know are important, because those carry on. Once you learn a defense at this level, and you get to the next level, this equals that, right? And so once you know it inside and out, there's a lot of transferable skills there. And so he's been a great mentor to those guys, and so it's special.
Coach, looking at the team as a whole, there were a lot of young guys out there just balling out, having fun, and it was evident in how they were playing. What does that say about like the youth of this team? Because you know, in this day and age, it feels like we've not necessarily at Pitt, but players that are 25, 26 sticking around. So what does that say to see them go out?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. I think, you know, you saw a bunch of guys getting out. One for sure on the blue team, you know, Drip Harrison, big time plays out there, which was fun to see, and we need that. We need continuing to see guys step up, and you know, I think football's the greatest game in the world. It gives those guys the opportunity to challenge themselves to be dominant, be champions, and I think we've got a good group of young guys to push and help us win championships. So it's been exciting.
Right. We asked Randy about the linebackers the other day, and he made the point to say, hey, they don't do anything without the D line. What have you noticed from that group? You think about them heading this coming year?
Absolutely. I think Coach Dowse has done a tremendous job getting those guys running off the football, being physical up front. You know, we're stout and have some good guys, you know, building walls up front, which is what we want to do in the run game, build a wall up front, and then get after the quarterback once we can, you know, stop the run, transition to long passing yard situations, and get pass rushers going. So I think it was good to see. We got some new tools on the edges, and some stout guys inside returning. And so it's been fun, and like you said, it does. We don't make anything happen without those guys at the linebacker level. We need those guys up front. We work together, you know, that front seven, and our safeties, as you know, are very, very much involved in the run game. But I think they've come a long way. We all have in the front seven, and excited about that.
Coach, thank you for your time.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.